We're in session in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Judge Terrence Holmes presiding. We have our announcement docket, which is scheduled at 9 a.m. on today's date of December 1st of 2021. The first case that we will call is cause number 329-402. Case is style of State of Texas versus Chase Morgan Kimball. Okay, this is cause number 329-402. Case is style of State of Texas versus Chase Morgan Kimball. Mr. Kimball, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Kimball?
Oh, pretty good. Tired of dealing with this kind of stuff over nothing.
Okay, Mr. Kimball, you were here represented by attorney Mark Faggart. Attorney Faggart, how are you doing?
I'm good, Your Honor. Thank you for asking.
Okay, Mr. Faggart, what is your announcement in Mr. Kimball's case?
Well, Mr. Campbell,
I want a dismissal today.
and I don't foresee that happening after my discussions with the district attorney's office.
I mean, I got plenty of.
Mr. Kimball, would you let one person talk at a time? Your attorney.
I don't see where this, after my discussions with Mr. Boyd, I don't think he has any intention of dismissing the case today. We did discuss it for the court's information and Mr. Kimball's information. We discussed it prior to the calling of the case on the docket. So in that respect, I was going to go ahead and ask that it be put on the trial docket.
Okay.
Okay, and if you want to leave that with me, that'd be great.
Huh? I mean, I'd like to show it to him. I don't know why when this girl assaulted me.
Mr. Kimball, Mr. Kimball, you have a right to remain silent.
Sure.
Anything that you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Okay, you have an attorney.
I'll bring my video.
Okay, so at this time, give us a trial date.
February 28th.
Okay, case is reset for trial February 28th. Mr. Kimball, your attorney will be given your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And stand up, Mr. Faggart, just get your sign the reset.
Really.
Yeah.
If I stay 2 months past my release, I'll still watch it on that.
I'm not appointed to represent you on that. I'll do
Okay,
that.
nice the other day. Great.
Okay. Wilkerson.
Judge, question, that's all.
Okay. Which one? Oh, that was Norris? Mr. Mr. Faggart, you can talk to your client in the hall.
Sure.
Walker. Right, is not here. Mr. Bailey. Who do we have? I didn't get it.
I'm checking. them.
This is cause number 329-824, case of solid state of Texas versus Jacob Perry Wright. Mr. Wright, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Wright?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Wright, you're here represented by your attorney Glenn Crocker. Attorney Crocker, how you doing?
Very well, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Attorney Crocker, what is your announcement in Mr. Wright's case?
Your Honor, we've received complete discovery. We've got a plea offer from the state. We're attempting to see if we can get a counter offer engaged and accepted. We haven't been able to do it at this time.
Okay, how much time do you need?
If I were to ask for 30 days, that would actually put you over into the new year, though.
Well, that's our standard reset. It's gonna go into the new year anyway.
Well, then I get something of that nature. Your
Let's
Honor.
give us a standard reset date.
January 12th.
Okay, this case gonna be reset to January 12th, 2022. Mr. Wright, your attorneys will be given a copy of your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Crocker, I think this is,
It is, Your Honor.
you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed
Thank you
day.
very much.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this was, give me that other cause number. This is cause number 330274, case of solid state of Texas versus Eddie Ray Dankins or Eddie Ray Dankins Jr. Mr. Dankins, is that your full name? Okay. How are you doing, Mr. Dankins? You doing all right? All right. Now, Mr. Dankins, what's that cause number on that? other-
30812.
330812. Now, Mr. Dankins, you scheduled here for your offense of evading arrest detention. And apparently you have another offense that is a resisting arrest, which is cause number 330812. Now, with that new offense, there's a warrant out. You hadn't been arrested on that.
I've been arrested, no, I haven't.
Okay, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna take you, you're gonna be taken into custody on that new case. And so just follow the bailiff.
Here the custody will.
You're gonna follow the bailiff to the back. Get that door. Thank you. Hold the pillar. This is cause number 298368. Case is style the state of Texas versus Alexis Jeray Simeon. We have Ms. Simeon appearing via Zoom. Ms. Simeon, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. Simeon, there's a note on the docket sheet that states that you were to hire, your case was reset last time for you to hire an attorney.
That's correct.
Have you
So-
hired your,
No, I haven't. So I was transitioning jobs and my income changed and I can't afford an attorney right now.
well, you have to appear in court to fill out a financial questionnaire that if you want to see if you want to apply for a court-appointed attorney, you have to appear in court to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can make the determination as to whether or not you qualify for an attorney, an appointment of an attorney. Okay, so
Okay.
now let me do this. We can reset your case to give you an opportunity to come into court so that we can get that done.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
I also lost my transportation. So could I get like at least a month or so to get my reset date?
okay, our standard reset is 30 days. We're gonna reset a case 30 days. Give us a reset date.
January 12th.
Okay, your case is going to be reset to January 12th of 2022. You need to stay in contact with your bondsman. Your bondsman will be notified as to your reset date. And you need to appear in person to fill out the financial questionnaire to apply for a court-appointed attorney, okay?
Okay. That's
Okay, so your case is gonna be reset to January 12th, 2022 at 9 a.m. This will conclude your case. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, you're welcome. Next case on the court's docket is Colin Keat Elder or Eller.
Yeah, he's in.
Could you, Mr. Bailey, could you please get Colin Eller?
Colin Eller.
Yeah, Colin Eller. 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 Yeah. Mr. Eller, please come forward. Mr. Eller, you can stand on the X. We're in session at cause number 330-360, cause number 330-362, and cause number 330-364. All three cases are style of state of Texas versus Colin Keith Eller. Mr. Eller, is that your full name? How are you doing, Mr. Eller? That's good. Mr. Eller, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Frank Adams. Mr. Adams, how are you doing?
Oh, fine, Judge. Hope you are.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Adams, what is your announcement in Mr. Eller cases?
I'm gonna need a little more time. We just got in the video and it looks like the video, I haven't had time to look at it. It looks like it's gonna be like 8 hours or something.
Okay,
Kind of abnormal.
Okay.
Or abnormal for me to look at.
so how much time do you need on your
About
reset?
30 days.
30 days?
Yeah.
Give us a reset date. Case is gonna be reset to January 12th, 2022, to give you an opportunity to look at the discovery that you received from the state. And Mr. Eller, your attorney, Mr. Frank Adams, is gonna sign a reset here in court in a minute. And once he signs the reset,
Okay.
he'll give you that reset, and once you get the reset, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Unbelievable.
Okay. Mr. Adams, you can sign your reset. Once you sign your reset, your client will be free to go, and Mr. Adams, you have a blessed day as well. Renee Higgins,
That's Raina Higgins.
Raina?
She's president. Oh, wait.
Thank you.
We're in session and calls number 330-558. Case is style of State of Texas versus Raina Graham Higgins. Ms. Higgins, is that your full name? How are you doing, Ms. Higgins?
Okay.
That's good. Ms. Higgins, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Nathan Reynolds. Attorney Reynolds, how you doing?
Doing well, Judge.
Okay. Attorney Reynolds, what is your announcement in Ms. Higgins' case?
Judge, I tried to get Ms. Higgins into the pretrial program as of yesterday. She was declined.
Okay,
And I asked the court for a standard reset, possibly we get a plea bargain and dispose of the case.
okay. Okay, the case is gonna be reset to January 12th of 2022. You can stand over there and get your reset from our court coordinator.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Okay. Oh, it must be her phone.
I'm happy. I don't have my own.
Fine. I know. It was overwhelming when I saw everything I had. I was like, where do you start?
Where did I get all that?
So I still have boxes and stuff. It's just- No, no. I did not. Thank you. I started outside.
Hold on a minute. Okay, this is cause number 330-038. Case is style of State of Texas versus Cariana Savoy. Ms. Savoy, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. Savoy? I'm doing fine, Ms. Savoy. I see a note on the docket under your name stated that you were to hire an attorney, and that was October 6th of 2021. Have you hired your attorney?
No, sir.
Okay, why haven't you hired your attorney? Have you tried to hire an attorney?
I was looking. I'm not working.
Okay, now what did you say? So you're not working anymore? Okay, now, you have three options, as a defendant in a criminal case. You may hire an attorney, that's number one. Number two, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. Or number three, you may represent yourself. Do you understand those options? And I think those options was given to you back in October when you came here, is that correct? Now, what do you want to do? Okay, she needs to fill out that form. She has to do another judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney. And no, she has to sign the waiver, read and sign the waiver. Okay. Just have a seat in one of those chairs that have the yellow and black tape behind that wall. Okay, okay. Okay, this is cause number 330210. Case is filed the state of Texas versus Jose Juan Martinez. Is that your full name? How are you doing, Mr. Martinez? Now, Mr. Martinez, I see a note here that you was to hire an attorney, and that was from August 24 to 2021. Have you hired your attorney?
Well, I did, but I lost my job because one of my daughters from school.
Okay, so you did, you say you did, you hired an attorney?
I went to go see one.
Oh, so you went to go see one, you hadn't hired one,
No,
and but you said you lost your job.
I lost my job because my daughter.
Okay, now, Mr. Martinez, you have three options as a defendant in a criminal case. Number one, you may hire an attorney, or number two, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. Or number three, you may represent yourself. Do you understand those options?
Yes, sir.
And I think the last time that you were here, the court read you the judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney, and it had this information as well as other information. Is that correct? Now, what do you want to do?
Well, I'm trying to keep the job, supposed to call me so I can hire the attorney, because I don't have the money, the money that I had.
Okay, you don't want to see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney?
I can.
Okay, let's, okay, we have some paperwork that we need to give you. Just have a seat in the chair that you were sitting in. The bailiff is gonna bring you some paperwork. Oh, there it is, right there. What do you look for?
Judge's explanation, are we out of? I'm gonna make some copies. Terrence to Houston.
Carriana Savoy,
I'll let you know.
okay, this is cause number 330038. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Carriana Savoy. Ms. Savoy, is that your full name? Ms. Savoy, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Savoy, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? You may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Savoy? Doing good? That's good. Now, Ms. Savoy, I have before me two documents. The first document is a misdemeanor, whereas the judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line that states that you want to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
Also, I have before me the affidavit of indigence. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On the second page of the same document, Ms. Savoy, on the line that's titled defendant signature, is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Savoy, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything true and correct in these documents?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Savoy, I've read the affidavit of indigence, and based on your responses, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. Uh, And the attorney that has been appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Peter Dole. You can stand on the 4X. Well, before we do that, I have something else we need to go over with you. Mr. Bailey, do you please hand Mr. Boyd? Hey, Mr. Boyd, what you have in your hand is a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. I'll go over these conditions with you. And it reads, following arrest and or accusation in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein or ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body, and that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, A2, and Section C2. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of a pending offense. And the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Now, condition number 4 does not apply to you because that only applies in a DWI case. Your case is not a DWI case. Ms. Savoy, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond can be forfeited, and if your bond is forfeited, warrant will be issued for your arrest. You'll be arrested and placed in Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Savoy, you can stand on the 4X to your left in front of our court coordinator. Your case is going to be reset, and you're going to be given all the information that you need in contacting your court-appointed attorney.
Okay.
And that's your copy. And once you finish here, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Jose Martinez. Mr. Martinez, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Martinez, do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Martinez?
Good.
You doing good? Oh, yeah. Mr. Martinez, I have before me some documents. The first document is a judge's explanation of the rights of defense without attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And the next document I have is affidavit of indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, is this your signature on the line that's not a defendant?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line that states that you would like to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
And on this second document, which is the affidavit of indigence, is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Martinez, before you signed and initially these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay. Mr. Martinez, I've read your affidavit, and based on your responses, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And your attorney, that's going to be appointed to represent you in this case is Mr. Mark Faggart. And Mr. Faggart actually is in court today. You may get a chance to meet him before you leave, okay? Mr. Martinez, you have a document that's been handed out to you that's titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Do you see that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to go over this document with you. And it reads, following the arrest and accusation in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who, A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body. And that's pursuant to Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, Section A2 and Section C2. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Now, condition number 3, defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Now, condition number 4 does not apply to you because that only applies in the DWI case. Now, in your case, it's not a DWI case. Now, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond can be forfeited. And if your bond is forfeited, warrant will be issued for your arrest, and you'll be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Martinez, you can stand on the 4X in front of our court coordinator. Your case is going to be reset. You're going to be given the information regarding the attorney who has been appointed to represent you. Once you get that information, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Okay. We have any ready? Who we have? Aguilar?
You need to write a phone number down.
Jorge Antonio Aguilar?
Mr. Nunez, he is on the docket. He has a different last name. The one that I was telling you about before, we thought he was next door. He's on your docket. It's, I believe on the court's docket, his last name is Almendaris.
Oh, Amadeus? Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have him as Nunez. But on him, we've applied for pretrial diversion. He's here. We're waiting on an answer on that. He has two last names, but same person.
Court is in session in cause number 330100. Case of South State of Texas versus Jorge Antonio Aguilar. Mr. Aguilar, does he speak English?
Very little.
Okay, so we have Mr. Jared Gilthorpe, Mr. Aguilar's attorney. He's gonna interpret for him. Mr. Gilthorpe, would you raise your right hand? Mr. Gilthorpe, do you swear or affirm to interpret Spanish to English and English to Spanish?
Yes.
So help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Now,
Mark Thacker.
is your name Jorge Antonio Aguilar?
Yes.
Mr. Aguilar, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Aguilar, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
Yes.
You may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Aguilar?
Well.
That's good. Mr. Aguilar, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about May 15th of 2021, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Aguilar, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Aguilar, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Okay. Mr. Aguilar, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Aguilar, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. You recognize this document?
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna make a change on this document. You had as Class B, it's a
I
Class.
marked it wrong.
Okay. Now, Mr. Aguilar, we're getting ready to make a change on this document. Do I have your permission to make that change to show that it's a Class A misdemeanor?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Aguilar, this offense is a Class A misdemeanor, and the punishment range is as follows: confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 1 year, a fine not to exceed $4,000, or both such confinement and fine. Do you understand the range of punishment?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Aguilar, there are some initials at the bottom of this document, and the initials are JA. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
And these initials are under a paragraph that is titled citizenship. Mr. Aguilar, are you a U.S. citizen?
Resident.
Okay. What country is he from?
Mexico.
Mexico? Okay, I don't think they're on the list. Mr. Aguilar, I will go over this paragraph that is titled citizenship with you. And it reads, if you are not a U.S. citizen, a plea of guilty or no contendere may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to this country, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Mr. Aguilar, do you understand?
Yes.
And did your attorney explain to you the rights that you have as a citizen? Well, the law that pertains to you as being a non-citizen.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Aguilar, on page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line that is titled guilty. The initials are JA. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
And On the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You had a discovery certification?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Mr. Aguilar, I have a document here that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Is this your signature above the line that is titled Defendant?
Yes.
Mr. Aguilar, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you in Spanish?
Yes.
And did you understand everything that he went over?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor. Without objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Gilthorpe, you have advised and counsel Mr. Aguilar. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Judge.
Mr. Aguilar, your attorney, Mr. Gilthorpe, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Aguilar, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
180 days jail, probated over 1 year, a $1,000 fine, 40 hours community service, ignition interlock, DWI education course, and drug and alcohol assessment.
Mr. Aguilar, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in jail because you will be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $422. The total amount of the fine and court costs is $1,422. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, the total amount of payments that you would have to pay each month is $205 while you're on probation. Will you be able to pay the $205 each month?
Yes.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service, attend and complete a DWI education class. You're required to have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you will install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you also adhere to the standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Aguilar, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Mr. Aguilar, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Aguilar, please stand on the X next to your attorney. Follow the directions of the clerk. Once you finish following our clerk directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Okay.
I think I think Jared's only other one was the Alimentaris that needed to be
Okay,
reset.
okay, we'll. Jose Amenderis? Okay, this is cause number 329418. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Jose Angel Nunez Amadeus. Is that your full name?
Yes.
Okay, now, Mr. Gilthorpe, what is your announcement in Mr. Amadeus' case?
Judge, we've applied for pretrial diversion. We'd asked for a reset to get response back from the state on whether or not he'll be allowed into that program.
Okay, the sign-up date is February,
I believe so, Your Honor.
so that'll be, we're gonna reset it to the second week in February.
Thank you, Judge.
Yep, stand over here. We're gonna reset Amadeus to the second week of February. He's on Amadeus on page 3 in the middle. Jose Amadeus,
Okay. To when, Judge?
second week in February, he's applying for pretrial diversion.
Okay.
Anthony Sanchez. Well, Mr. Bailiff, would you please get Anthony Sanchez? Oh, he's here. All right. Okay. We're in session and clause number 329436. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Anthony Del Sanchez. Mr. Sanchez, is that your full name?
Yes.
Mr. Sanchez, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Sanchez, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Sanchez, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Sanchez? That's good. Mr. Sanchez, you're here represented by your attorney, Willard Hall, Attorney Hall. How are you doing?
I'm great, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's good. Mr. Hall, do you waive a record in Mr. Sanchez's case?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Sanchez, I have before me a document that is titled, let me do this here. That is titled the information. And in this document, it states that on or about January 27th of 2021, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Gilthorpe, just for the record, you had, in Aguilar's case, you waived the record in that case?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Now, Mr. Sanchez, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Sanchez, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
Guilty.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Sanchez, I also have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. Mr. Sanchez, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And on page 2 of the same document, Mr. Sanchez, I guess that's just his initial. Okay, on this, page 2 of the same document, are these your initials on the line next to the box that says guilty?
Yes.
And on the third page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature? And on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification to Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that? Now, Mr. Sanchez, I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
Mr. Sanchez, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Hall, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Hall, you advised and counsel Mr. Sanchez. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sanchez, your attorney, Mr. Hall, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. Sanchez, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
90 days jail, probated over 1 year, a $500 fine, 40 hours community service, DWI education course, ignition interlock, and drug and alcohol assessment.
Okay, Mr. Sanchez, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $422. The total fine and court costs will be $922. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to pay a Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, the total amount that you would have to pay each month in monthly installments is $160 each month. Will you be able to pay the $160 each month? Mr. Sanchez, you will also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend a DWI education class and attend and complete a DWI education class. You'll also be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you will be required to install the DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Sanchez, do you understand the state's offer?
Yeah.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sanchez, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Sanchez, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney, Mr. Hall. You're gonna follow the directions of our court clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Hall, I think this is your only case.
Yes,
You'll be
sir.
free to go as well and you have a blessed day. Court is in session on cause number 327-504. Case is style of state of Texas versus Michael Bill Wayne O'Daniel. Mr. O'Daniel, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. O'Daniel?
I'm blessed, sir.
I'm blessed as well. Now, thank you for asking. Mr. O'Daniel, you're here represented by your attorney, Ms. Lori Perazzo. Ms. Perazzo, how are you doing?
Doing well, Your
Thank you.
That's good. Now, Ms. Peraza, what is your announcement in Mr. O'Daniel's case?
Your Honor, we have received all the discovery. We have pretty much concluded reviewing the discovery. If I could just have one more reset, so I have sufficient time to get with the prosecutor, see if we can work out a deal.
That's on our docket.
Okay. Okay, you want to stand a reset?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that court date is gonna be January 12th of 2022. You can get your reset from our court coordinator. Once your attorney gets the reset from the court coordinator and you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
You do, thank you.
All right, stand over there.
And if she can't get on that. Was it on that?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Raise your hand.
I'll email it to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Trying to get in touch with that time.
Okay, this is Mr. O'Daniel, page 1, reset January 12th, 2022.
I went to January 26th.
26?
The 12th is, like, really getting big. So it's the 26th. If the 12th is what you want to put in.
The 12th is, I'm available for the 12th. If y'all
Okay,
have
cool.
anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the agenda. Bonded out. Okay, but we have a. No. No, that was just,
Okay, thank you.
and I'll send you a copy of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Anthony McNeil. That's your next one, thank you. Bradley, Nintendo, Bradley. saying that to me too.
Court is in session in cause number 323-714, case of Style of State of Texas versus Jesse Marshall III.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes. Your full name is Jesse Marshall III?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Marshall, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Marshall, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, help you God?
Yes,
Mr. Marshall, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Marshall?
I'm doing great. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Marshall, I have before me, well, Mr. Marshall, you're represented here by your attorney Mark Faggart. Attorney Faggart, how are you doing?
I'm good, Your Honor. Thank you for asking. Hope your day's going well.
It is going well. Mr. Faggart, do you waive a record in Mr. Marshall's case?
We do, Your Honor.
Mr. Marshall, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about May 17th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Second, This information further alleges that prior to the commission of this offense, that you, Jesse Marshall III, on April 4th of 2008, in the County Criminal Court of Law, number 4 of Harris County, Texas, and cause number 1461450, that you were convicted for the misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, and that conviction became final prior to the commission of this offense. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Now, to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes,
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
yes.
Mr. Marshall, I also have before me a document that is titled to misdemeanor plea admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Marshall, there's a set of initials JCM on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
yes,
And on third page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
yes,
And on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
yes,
Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
No, sir.
You don't understand that?
Oh, yes, sir, I do, understand. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Okay, now, the second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes,
You're the discovery certification.
Right. I think I gave it to Mr.
There it is. There's a one over there on the table.
There it is.
This is it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you're welcome. Mr. Marshall, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
yes,
Is this your signature above the line that is titled Defendant?
yes,
Now, Mr. Marshall, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Faggart, go over these documents with you?
yes,
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
None whatsoever, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Faggart, you've advised and counseled Mr. Marshall. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None whatsoever, Your Honor.
Mr. Marshall, your attorney, Mr. Faggart, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes,
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
yes, sir.
Mr. Marshall, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
It's 15 days county jail to check in, if that's okay with the court, by 6 p.m. Tomorrow.
Mr. Marshall, the
Yes,
state is offering, let me, is there an affidavit in you? Just one. The state is offering, Mr. Marshall, that you serve 15 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Now, Mr. Marshall, you will be given credit for any time that you are entitled to get by law toward your sentence. The court cost in this case, Mr. Marshall, is $437. Mr. Marshall, will you be able to pay the $437?
yes,
Okay. Now, Mr. Marshall, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes,
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Mr. Marshall, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement. Oh, and
Jesse, you're not gonna be able to pay that while you're in jail, are you?
No, sir. I already have credit for 8 days. He gave me 15 days. I already have.
Yeah, but what he's talking about, the court costs, you don't have $472.
No, to pay right now?
Yeah,
No, sir, not at this moment. I don't. I have to wait till I get paid.
okay. Well, let me
If I can I get a?
well, let me back up.
installment
Hold on.
payment?
Let me back up. Okay, now let's back up. Mr. Marshall. That judgment. Okay, thanks.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, that's all. So this is the only screen I could get in. I mean, it's something, we could get this one. But is it something else? Is it something that we can do? I don't know.
Okay, let's back up. We're gonna go back to the punishment phase. Now, Mr. Marshall, the state is offering that you serve 15 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you are entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case is $437. Are you able to pay the $437?
Not at this time. I'm sorry.
Okay, now, Mr. Marshall, I have before me a financial affidavit that was filled out by you, like it says, October 22nd of 2019. Having a look at this affidavit.
Sorry.
Was he, was his attorney appointed in this case?
okay. Okay,
Okay,
that's what you signed on that day, right?
Mhm.
Okay, that's it, that's correct, Your Honor. Everything on there is true and correct.
okay, now let me ask you this, Mr. Marshall. Now this was over two years ago. Is everything still correct? Is this still your financial situation?
Yes.
So it hadn't changed?
No, sir.
Okay, now, the court has previously found that you had met the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And in this case, Mr. Mark Faggett was appointed to represent you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that
That's
correct,
correct,
Mr.
Your
Faggett? So, based on your representation, the court is going to find that you are indigent. And because of the finding of indigency in this case, that simply means that the court costs in this case will be waived. You will not be required to pay the court costs, and that's pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. All right?
Yes.
So just let me repeat this your sentence. 15 days to be served in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. The court costs in this case of $437 will be waived pursuant to Article 42.15 of Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, because the court has previously found and is still and has previously found that you are indigent. And you'll report to the jail on December 2nd of 2021 at or about 6 p.m. Do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer and the court's waiver of your court costs is fair and just?
Yes,
And do you accept it?
yes, sir.
Okay, I'll follow people are in agreement with the waiver of court costs. And so, Mr. Marshall, you can stand over here in front of the X next to your attorney. Gonna follow the court clerk's directions. And you have to turn yourself in tomorrow, 6 p.m. At or before 6 p.m. There you go. Yeah. Here you go.
Got it. Make sure it saves. So I got 2 copies of the commitments. Make sure when you go to check yourself into the gym that you take that extra copy with you, because they'll have to have that, okay? Or they won't be able to accept it.
Okay, so I keep a copy and I bring it.
Copies, yeah, one's yours and one.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good Christmas, man.
How you doing?
Thank you.
Okay, we're in session in cause number 317346, case of style, the state of Texas versus Justin Green. Your full name is Justin Demond Green.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Green? That's good, Mr. Green. You're here represented by your attorney of record, Mr. Langston Adams. Mr. Adams, how you doing?
I think he's hired Mr. Samuels.
Well, Mr. Samuel has not filed a motion to substitute.
We need to get with Mr. Samuels.
So you want me to reset it?
So what we're gonna, you hired another attorney?
Yes, sir.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna reset this case. Mr. Adams is still as your attorney of record. Mr. Samuel has to file the necessary paperwork. Once he files that paperwork, everything is in order. Mr. Samuel will become your attorney. So at this time, we'll reset your case to allow you that to be done. Okay? So stand on the X. You can get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go.
Okay, thank you.
Corey Samino.
This is Mr. Domina.
Yeah.
Come on.
What's your name?
That's the one with Langston, that Auburn. Okay, we're in session in cause numbers 328-456, cause number 328-860, and cause number 328-954. All 3 cases are styled the state of Texas versus Corey Samino. Corey is Semino?
Simmons.
Okay, Corey Blaine Semino.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Semino?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Semino. You're here represented by your attorney, Langston Adams. Attorney Adams, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Now, Mr. Semino, Mr. Adams, what is your announcement in Mr. Semino's cases?
He's maintaining he did not commit these offenses, so trial.
Reset for trial, okay? It's 228?
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, now, Mr. Semino, the attorney is gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. So just have a seat.
Thank you.
Okay. You get your reset after this guy finish. Let's see. Daniel E. Domina Rivera. Your name Daniel E. Domina Rivera?
Yeah.
How you doing, Mr. Rivera?
All right.
I'm doing fine. Mr. Domina Rivera, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Langston Adams. Mr. Adams, what is your announcement in Mr. Domina Rivera's case?
We'll put that case on trial back.
Reset for trial, okay. What, 228? Okay, Mr. Domina Rivera, your case is gonna be reset to February 28, 2022. You can get your reset from your attorney. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge.
And I think, Mr. Adams, this will conclude your cases. Okay, you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day. Did you have that number to a lady, to that?
That's what I'm
lawyer?
gonna try again, Your Honor. I have it shown in here. I'm not sure what the area code is. It may be the 832 one. That's what I was gonna try.
Oh, 832, yeah, I see, she got 832 on her, what is it called? Oh,
Business.
yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
And with Auburn, supposed to follow motion, so. Just take the definition. Okay, come on.
Look like LaKayla Friday is the only person that's left. With Haynes.
I don't know, I gave him the phone number. Gave him the phone number. Oh, I don't know.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Haynes, we are waiting for your attorney to appear on Zoom.
That's fine, sir, but I'm just saying, if I may speak for a second, sir.
Well, let me, no, you cannot, your attorney is not present. And so we allow you to, you talk to your attorney first, and then we'll be able to.
That's why I was trying to tell you that she said that she had filed a motion and that she wasn't gonna appear because she just sent me a text message.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it doesn't work like that, Mr. Haynes.
Well, I apologize because that's a text message I just received from her. So I'm just.
Anytime you file a motion, you have to present your motion.
Okay, well.
Okay, so just hold
I'll just
on.
wait. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, you doing?
Yeah.
It don't go like that. He just called my name and he said that LaKayla Friday's not there. And she said, and he said, and I said, well, my speaker, she said, you're not really supposed to speak until your attorney. Yeah. And then he said, he said that she's still supposed to appear on Zoom.
Mr. Haynes, you need to put your mic on mute.